is The Gist with Issa and Grace on AfroVibes Radio. And today we have the beautiful, the talented,
fine. Look at your skin is glowing,
Brii. And so we are so excited because you are also a radio host, right? And so kind of tell us a little bit about that. I know I've been following you for quite some time, but just, you know, for our audiences to know more about you, you know, how did you start in this journey, broadcasting, especially as a Black female? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, yes, I am a radio personality here in Atlanta, Georgia, on Streets 94.5 FM, traditional radio here in Atlanta. I went to college. I graduated from Georgia State University with a degree. Actually, I started out in mass comm, but then I ended up switching it over to film and television. And philosophy.
You around it. You got a little bit of everything.
That is crazy.
I was like, listen, we need to see this face. Okay?
I see you on Instagram where you're like talking about all these different topics and trying to encourage people and stuff. So I can see the philosophy kind of trickling in. So I can believe
Right, they came in, I'm like, you know what, I didn't think about it. Like, you know how we always joke about, like, I don't even use my degree. Or, you know, I went to college for this, but I'm like, I actually am kind of using it in what I talk about and my messaging. But yeah, so I went to college, graduated. I actually started off in radio a little bit unorthodox. So I didn't go the traditional intern route. I didn't apply or do any internships while I was in college. I wasn't even really thinking about radio. I started to, like I said, I was focused on television at that point. And after graduating, I started building my online platform and my social media following. And through my social media, that's when I had about 100,000 followers at that point. I was invited on to 2 radio shows here in Atlanta on 2 different stations. They were like literally a week apart from each other. Wow. They asked me to come on to be like model. It was like Model Mondays and like Bay of the Week. Like, a cute girl from Instagram come in. But, you know, I went in and I often tell people, like, your beauty will get you in rooms, but your personality and who you are is what will keep you in those rooms. So when I was there at those...
That's how I got here.
That's how you got here.
I was there on those interviews and I just was being myself, being normal Brii, and talking about certain things that other people were afraid to talk about and articulating myself well. And after both of those interviews, I actually had 2 offers from both of the stations like, hey, let's get you in the radio.
And
so they saw you and they were like, yes.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I always did kind of want to do that because I used to have a reoccurring dream when I was in high school. I would see myself like in a radio station on the mic, like over and over. I would have that dream every so often.
So this is you. This is who you're supposed to be.
She manifested this.
She did manifest.
Yeah, low key. Didn't even know it.
And then it's been smooth sailing from there.
It's been smooth sailing from there. I chose the station that I felt like was a better fit for me. Went through training processes with them, and within a year, I was on air weekly.
Wow.
So right now, I know a lot of people thought before that broadcasting was having a little bit of a downturn because of the rise of like podcasts. Everyone had a podcast. Everybody watch my podcast. And you look in your Instagram DMs and say, look at my podcast.
Right.
Like, how everybody got a podcast? Because you got a camera, you got a mic, and you put it on YouTube, and you have a podcast.
Right.
So, do you think that there's been kind of an inverse relation with how everything has now been virtual now that everyone's on the radio now?
With COVID especially.
For sure. I think that, you know, with times changing and growing, we as millennials, like most people I know, hop in the car and plug their phone up or, you know, are listening to so there is there's so many different avenues for you to consume information or entertainment now that I think that it's just kind of like spread out. But radio still is a traditional route that is really strong because there are millions of people that still get in their car that don't have an aux cord or don't have Bluetooth or just don't even care or just want to hear the news or want to be updated.
Absolutely.
So I do know that we still, our numbers are still strong. We do have the #1 station like in the city of Atlanta.
Always represent our station.
So I mean, it's like I see both sides of the coins, and then I think that's a plus of having people like me who are connected on virtually as well, because I can tell the station like, here are things that we can do to compete on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So like what I've seen a lot with what we have done with AfroVibes Radio is we've put stuff on Instagram mode, but content.
Right.
Content.
Right.
Watch out now. Content.
22.
And not just Instagram too. Instagram, Facebook, and then Instagram Live. Like I know there was a lot of lives going on, and so we jumped on that as well.
Live party.
Yeah,
party.
This girl is something else.
It's so funny. I like it.
No, that's awesome. So, let me ask you this, especially during the times we're in right now. How has it been in your journey with broadcasting and journalism and being the face, to your show within a year, especially being a Black female? Has that helped you? Has that hurt you? Has it done both?
It's definitely helped me find my own voice, find things that I find are important, finding that content has started to become more organic now, like you said, because it's so much that pertains to us in the world that's important. Absolutely. So I feel like the messaging and finding the content is easier. However, it has been harder because I'm a Black woman, because we're in these difficult times, and because it's considered journalism. I still sometimes have to remind myself that I'm a journalist. So I have to say things in a certain type of way so that they will be perceived by many. And, we're used to, I know I'm used to being in the house, like having these conversations or talking to your homegirl and speaking freely.
Yeah, saying whatever's on your mind, right.
Saying whatever. And that's the platform that social media gave me as well. So coming from that too, I had that, I could say whatever I want because this is my channel. This is my page. But when you're on platforms like these traditional companies and stuff like that, I still get hey, knocks on the window. You can't say that like that.
That's crazy. So, I mean, how do you kind of, I guess, limit your content on the actual radio station and then just kind of be more of yourself on your social media page? Or have you kind of found that balance, that blend of
I'm finding
your own
that
personality,
and that balance, because I feel like those people who are on the radio, 9 times out of 10, they don't follow me on social media. A lot of times they had no idea who I was. So I do try to give them a piece of who I am, so they might want to follow me on my page. I spoon feed them a little bit with what I can.
Just get a little taste of that.
And then
taste of baby.
Really big fish for the real big fish.
Okay. I ain't gonna double text you back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh my God. Okay, so we have heard through social media your book, right? The Activated Fat Girl. So we've been following you as you've been. Let me pull it out.
Yeah. Cameo.
No, and that's so awesome. You being a Black young woman, doing your thing, and then also adding to your resume now, a book, right? An author. What do you think I guess, why did you even go down that road to write a book in the first place? What presented you?
Actually, I'm wondering what came first.
I was going to tell you what came first.
Okay.
That's how I was going to explain.
First things first.
First things first, I lost the weight. And then my best friend was like, hey, you need to be on social media telling people about this, you're beautiful, you have a great personality, promote your story. So I started my Instagram basically taking you on the journey of me losing weight, and I lost the weight, and that's kind of what added to me gaining a lot of followers, which then brought on the radio, and that it started my career. So I owe my weight loss journey so much for my personal side and my career side, because it gave me the confidence and it gave me the eyeballs, right? And so being that everybody was watching me and seeing me transform, they're telling me now, my audience started to tell me you should write a book. You should write a book. What's your secrets? Tell us your secrets. I got so many DMs for 2-3 years of tell me what
YouTube.
Tell me what you work out. And I would answer them, but then I just got to the point was I can't answer every DM.
Everybody,
So then Corona happened. Mind you, I always wanted to be an author since a kid, but I never knew what I was going to write a book about.
Right.
Corona happened, and I used to make most of my money from hosting in clubs, being booked through the radio station and stuff like that. So all of that got shut down. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And I'm like, what do I have? What knowledge do I have that people want? What value can I bring to people's lives? And I'm like, damn, now's the time to write that book. You can't go nowhere. You can't do nothing. So I literally wrote the book in Corona. Like once COVID-19 hit, I wrote the book start to finish in 2.5 weeks, published it by my birthday, and been promoting it since April 4th.
And so for me, a lot of times when you think of publishing a book, you think of it's this year-long process. You know, it takes a long time to write a book. I'm really surprised that it was like in a you don't read books. That explains a lot. But but like a 2.5. So you were basically from start to finish a month, and that's it. And the book was out.
Yes, less than a month actually, and I do see the benefit of now that I've published and I was under so much pressure to get it out because I was like, I want it out by my birthday. My birthday's coming up. I'm gonna be stuck in quarantine.
I know that.
All of my I was like, everything I wanted to do for my birthday is over. This is the only thing I can do to make me feel like a birthday.
I totally get that. But like, when's your birthday? Actually, I want to know. When's
April
your birthday? Okay. What sign are you?
4/4.
What sign?
I'm an Aries.
Okay. Okay.
What's the meaning of that? What's him?
No, I'm a Gemini. I'm okay.
Aries, though. A lot of Aries are mean. I'm not mean. A lot of Aries.
No, you seem very nice.
Oh my God. My sister's an Aries, and she is.
She's mean, right?
She tell you how it is, straight.
Fiery. Now I am straight to the point, but I'm not mean. I'm not as mean. I've learned to.
You know, sweet girls don't have to tell us that they're not mean, but you know, we'll try and believe you. This one time.
Right. She said, "Oh God, they on to me. Oh Lord Jesus."
Dang, but no, that is awesome.
No, but yeah. So I wanted to give myself a gift, and that was like me buckling down. I was stuck in quarantine by myself. I live alone. I just really sat down and wrote out a couple chapters. I added in like my vision board.
It's colorful. Okay.
I added in like weekly schedules and things that can keep you accountable. So it's like an all-inclusive before and after pics. Like I even added in my journal entries where you could see like where I was and how horrible I used to talk to myself at certain points in my journey. So I just wanted it to be like a piece of like answering all the questions that everybody had asked me and a piece of like accountability with you at all times. So that's what made me write the book.
Yeah, so I was gonna say because a lot of weight loss happens in the mind.
I was gonna say the same thing.
You have to think of what is the root of why I'm eating so much. What is the root? Like, is it genetic? Is it because I'm sad?
Like, is it environmental?
So did you find personally that caused you to eat so much, or even was it something genetic? Because I know a lot of people, their metabolism kicks in. That's what happened with me, baby.
Oh, really? Not with me. Not with me. I can't eat past 6 p.m. I can't eat past 6 p.m. I try not to eat past 6 because that will be with me all night and into the next day.
Are you Russian?
Right. So a little bit of part for me was a little bit of me being overweight naturally because of trauma, going through things and emotionally eating. I was an emotional eater. Like you said, I had to figure out why I was eating the way I was eating and when and what was triggering it. It was emotional eating. But then too, that jump started my weight loss journey was genetics because my family is all heavier set women. They're all bigger women. So my grandma told me before I turned 25, she was like, if you don't get that weight loss together before 25, you know, you gonna at 25 we get that grown woman weight.
Right.
So it's gonna hit.
She said that grown woman weight.
That grown woman weight hit. The hips start to spread more. That booty gets a little bit more weight on it. You know that metabolism slows down. You get that grown woman weight. It's like a second puberty almost. So I was like, oh, hell no, I gotta get this together. So that's what made me get on it. But mine a lot came from emotional eating and snacking, not knowing what to eat. And I will say that's hereditary, not genetics maybe, but like we don't teach our kids from early on, choose this over that, or this is better than that. Or if you want something sweet, that's okay, go grab an orange.
Right.
Not a Kit Kat.
She's an orange.
No, she said orange. Not a Kit Kat. Okay.
Okay, y'all go catch an orange.
Tuesday.
That is so funny. So we're gonna take a quick break.
Yeah,
when we come back,
your orange.
She's still on the orange. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up. I have a couple of questions regarding your book, and then we're gonna get into your boutique store and some other things that you've been doing too. So we will be right back. This has been the Gist with Issa and Grace on AfroVibes Radio, and we have special guest Brii.
Your favorite radio station. This is AfroVibes Radio Houston.
Hey guys, Welcome back from the break. This is The Gist with Issa and Grace on AfroVibes Radio, and we have Brii Renee. I kept saying Brii, but Brii Renee, beautiful Atlanta, Georgia girl.
Wow. You see how her skin glowing, y'all?
I was wondering. I was like, we need better lighting because she glowing over there. We're not.
Skincare tips.
It's that ring light.
I should have brought mine from home. I should do that. But yeah, I had one last question regarding your book. So when you released it, you know, obviously it must have been so cathartic to just be like, here world, you know, this is my journey. How is it, you know, how has it been receiving comments and talking with people about it, you know, mentally, especially, you know, has it been as rewarding as you expected it, or has it been kind of different?
No, it's definitely been rewarding because for me, like I said, I never considered myself as like a fitness guru because I mean, I was overweight and then I lost weight. I'm just like a deactivated fat girl, literally. Like that's the title of my book.
Pretty accurate.
Deactivate
the fat mindset and activate the fit. So it's been very rewarding because people have told me like the things that I'm talking about in this book can apply to achieving whatever goal, whether it's fitness or, you know, finance or your career or school, because I'm talking about your mindset. I'm talking about tackling from within and really Xing out that negative mindset. So once you do that, like you can achieve anything in the world. And it's inspired me to continue to like find other things that I could possibly talk about or write about because it was kind of like all inclusive. Even though it's a fitness book, it's still like, no, I could use this to apply in life, you know?
That's awesome.
So I'm really grateful for the feedback that I've been getting.
Awesome. And so from one accomplishment to the next, so we're leaving the book right now. We're going to be talking about
talking about the book, we're talking about the weight loss, we're talking about broadcasting.
So now we're going to be talking about your store. So you have an apparel store, right? So it's like clothes, it's sunglasses. It's called Brii Joe. So when did you start that? Like, was it before the book? I mean, it has to have been because the book was during COVID. How did you get it?
So Brii Joe started Black Friday of 2018.
Okay.
And that was my initial release date. And I just wanted, being an influencer on social media, I was like, I'm always selling and promoting everybody else's stuff. I want to sell and promote my own. So I started like an accessory. The French word for accessory is Brii Joe. So I was like, it's Brii Joe.
She gonna make it. We're gonna
all-inclusive accessories. I started with sunglasses, went on to I have sunglasses, brooches, hair scarves, hoodies, designer socks, things like that. But now that I'm falling into like my niche, I would say, of health and wellness, I think I'm going to incorporate more of like health and wellness accessories, things that you need to all-inclusive. Yeah, be the best version of yourself. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that, and it's been around since Black Friday of 2018.
Dang, she's like an entrepreneur. Like,
the
book was just not even an anomaly. It's like, I've been doing other things. This is just another thing I've added to my list.
I really like it because it's like you can see your life through your side hustles.
Yeah.
So you started off with the weight loss. So you started your Instagram growth, and from your Instagram growth, then you started doing broadcasting because people saw, okay, she's a pretty face,
but she can talk.
Then you showed your personality and you got your own show.
She can speak.
And then from there, you know, businesses, brands started working with you because they wanted you to wear their clothes because you had a big following.
Because she's cute.
And then you were like, damn, all these people get my money. What's damn with it? And that is not right. Because I have that same issue too. The brand I work with, it's a small brand. And my issue with them is I work with them so much that people think it's my store. And I'm like, and so people that love me, that love my personality, love my comedy, are buying those clothes thinking that they're supporting me, but they're not.
Right.
And that's an hour to model. And so I told her I can't do this anymore. And
that's a big thing.
And you have to find what fits you and your audience and something that your audience would like to see from you, because people will support you just because of you. And then people will support because I have people that have been following me on my weight loss and like, okay, well, I want to know how she did it, so let me get this book. Or people are like, she's cute and I want to be cute, so I'm buying these shades she had on. You know?
No, so I think it's really important. Yeah, I think especially like young girls and doing social media, and as you get popular and you get recruited by different companies, to be decisive and be picky with what you choose to represent, because your followers followers will be like, oh, she's wearing this, so I want to wear it. But it's not always about the check as much. Yeah, because you want to make sure you investigate the company. You're getting a good deal. You have to make sure that your brand and yourself is getting a good deal, and that the company is something worth representing, because you may not want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And another issue is like the information. So there's no like class about how to become an influencer, or how to look at your analytics, how to make an email if you want to work with somebody,
right?
How to negotiate how much pay you're gonna get. You have to figure all that stuff out by yourself
as you go.
Yeah.
I wish, like, how did you learn personally?
A lot of trial and error.
You took a sigh with that one. She was like, oh.
A lot of trial and error.
You were doing charity, girl. I feel it. You were doing some charity work. You didn't even know.
I was fortunate though to have a lot of friends who were influencers before me. So I'm really cool and good friends with B. Simone and Jackie O and a lot of these other Candace in LA. A lot of girls who have million followers now. But when we first began to be friends, I had 100 and they might have had 500,000 followers. So they were teaching me along the, like, I might ask them a question, or what do you do with this, or you know, so networking across is so
I love
important.
that. I love like Black women, or even people, but especially Black women coming together, because sometimes, it's easy to do it because, oh, you're white or you're privileged or whatever. But if you're a Black woman, I love coming together and supporting each other and helping each other in the success. So I love that you had friends
sharing those. Sharing that knowledge with one another, not being stingy, because think about it, those brands are going to pay you and me. So why do we have to like?
That's a good way to think about it.
Exactly. Those big brands, exactly.
Fashion Nova gonna pay 15,000 people. Us three could be on the list.
Hello,
right?
Hello.
Okay, so I want to talk before we wrap this up. I want to talk about George Floyd, right? This has been a huge issue, rightly so, with his death, and just kind of sparking the uprising that's been going on in this country and all over the world regarding, the discrimination of Black people. Okay, we got you. I thought we lost you for a second.
She cute both ways.
I saw your picture. I was like, okay. So
my mom call had to decline.
Oh, got you.
Hey, Mama.
She should come into the conversation too. No, but like, what has been, you being on the radio station, how has it been for you to receive so many requests to talk about George Floyd, to see the nation's reaction? How have you been a part of this conversation?
So I definitely have been staying aware, giving valid information, confirming things, just keeping the community abreast on air and off air on social media as well, talking about being proactive, what we can do, and just keeping people informed, educated, and even often like still trying to provide a little light during this time towards the end of the week, because working in media, I have to give so much of the information. So that means I have to ingest a lot of it as well. So a couple of days, I personally was feeling like down. Like just depressed, like sad, and just had to pull myself out of it. So then I realized if I have to do that, I know there's so many other people who are just sitting at home consuming all of this need to do this as well. So sharing the light, giving tips on social media as well, like things that we can do to help the fight statistically, like systematically, financially, whether it's donating, supporting Black businesses, you know what I'm saying, things that we can do, petitions we can sign, or and just giving them, like I said, light, like hey today, like I did a live and I'm like, how do you guys feel? Tell me how you're feeling. How, like, really ask yourself how you feel. Give yourself a mental check-in. Do something for yourself today. Spend an hour with you today. Just loving on you a little extra. Like giving little tidbits of information that can help educate you and enlighten you and brighten your day as well.
There you go. Well said. Well said.
I felt like the same way because it's so much pain, and like I will say this personally, coming from African upbringing, African parenting, they teach you that you are their culture. African American culture is different from African culture. That culture is something that you can't associate with. So I had this weird dissociation of identity because I was also the token Black girl. I was the only Black girl in my class. Right. And so all I believed is all that I heard around me. And, you know, there's all that information that is coming up now about how there was a Wall Street
in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma. You ain't gonna see that. You ain't gonna see that in the history books. Right. All that stuff that was just left out. And so I had to come to a point of where this is something that I can't dissociate with because it's me. Right.
And I think that's a good point because because we're both African, you know, we're both Nigerian, and it has been hard for me at the beginning to like, I had to educate myself first of all. Like I was born in England, so I had to educate myself. Oh, you can't do it. Stop talking like that. Sorry. We get into this. She can't do it. But anyway, so we had to educate ourselves to understand truly the Black struggle here in America because it is different from everyone in England. And once and I'm still educating myself, then I was able to, as you said, associate and feel comfortable being like, you know what, Black lives do matter and speaking on it, you know, whether it's here on the platform or if it's just in my day-to-day life. Because when I go, like, I work in software, mostly whites, you know, where I live, mostly whites. And we're based in Houston. If you go west of Houston, where my parents stay.
When that man came up to you in the restaurant or in the cafeteria at your job and you weren't wearing professional clothes.
Oh, yeah. So last week we were talking about, you know, what's going on. And in one of my past jobs, I was in the cafeteria. So, you know, like there's a lot of different companies in this one building, right? You know, they rent out different floors. So in lunchtime, everyone would go down to the first floor and get, you know, food from the cafeteria, you know, all different companies, right? But because I work in software, we dress down, you know, but there were some oil and gas companies that they would dress up. So we were in line, you know, we'd do this for months or whatever. And so one day when I was coming down in, you know, leggings, just very casual clothes, pretty much what you're wearing, you know, this guy was basically like, oh, you know, asking me to take his food to the trash because he thought that I wasn't working here. He thought because I was Black, I basically I would take his food. Like, oh, could you? And I was like, oh, no.
I would have said, no, baby, the maid is off work.
That's what I was like, you know, I work here. You know, you can take your food down. This is where you're supposed to put the trash. And I just walked away, and I realized that, you know, people judge you. They're ignorant. They judge you for, you know, things that you cannot control. Because I'm educated. I do well at my job. He doesn't know that. He just thought, oh, is this young girl wearing, you know, these leggings or whatever? She's not dressed up like me, so she must not be an employee somewhere in this building. So she must be the maid. So let me just assume all that and then ask her to do something for me. You know, and it's just one of those things that's just like, you know, it follows you around. And whenever everyone has these kinds of stories. I can tell you a million stories. I'm sure you could tell us a million stories. I'm sure she could as well.
I can.
And so it's really important that African Americans, everyone unites, including whites, including Hispanics. Everyone kind of comes together because it's our fight at the end of the day. You know, my brother, he doesn't go out into the mailbox. We're driving, and I was like, can you get the mail? And he was about to, and there was a white lady there. I was like, wait. Don't just wait in the car. You let her go. And that was instinctually because I don't want her to feel like she's getting, you know, there's an intimidating Black guy next to her. I don't want that.
And you have to lessen yourself or shelter yourself. To make others feel comfortable. But first, let me say, I commend you all for being of a different culture and noticing like, hey, I don't feel connected. That's okay, because like you say, you were raised differently. And so I commend you on taking action and being like, let me educate myself on why they feel the way they feel and how this affects me, because I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Black girl. My father's Middle Eastern, but I'm a Black woman. At the end of the day, I know nothing about the Middle Eastern culture, which is horrible. But because my father died at a young age, so I just didn't educate myself in that aspect. But being raised by a Black woman in a predominantly Black city like Atlanta, Georgia, I was educated, and it was drilled into me the importance of my legacy, the importance of our history, and the things that we've been through. Like it has always frustrated me that like you said, the Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the fire that happened was the biggest the first terrorist attack on our soil, but it was never documented in history books.
Right.
But that's something that I was taught in my home as a child. And it's so important that you guys are educated on these things and racial relations, because like you said, when you're in America, they don't care. Nigerian.
They don't care. They don't know. They don't care. They don't investigate. Exactly.
They look at us the same. So it might catch you off guard if you are uneducated or don't know, like, well, why would you? Because of the color of your skin. And
it doesn't
it's so
matter.
stupid. But we have to educate ourselves continuously in order to really bring about change. Because now you could educate those people who looked at you differently, you know, or the people that you're surrounded by at work. Because you are the token Black girl there.
Man,
I think it's beautiful.
That's well said.
Because it's like, even like our history, in order for us to really have the power of our information and power of our history would be for people that were born here, like African American people, to learn about Africa, and for us to learn about.
And you actually see that. You know, a lot of people are now looking into their roots, especially.
It bridges the gap.
Yeah, it does.
Like, it's not segmented. It's not fighting.
I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but as an African American growing up here, and even like I know my grandmother, and I just had this conversation with my family during the beginning stages of Corona, before all of this happened. But I was saying, it's sad that as a Black woman, we have all this history, but we don't know our families past my great grandmother, because they were slaves. So
they try to destroy us.
There is, but it's like, if you go back through, my father's from the Middle East. I'm sure if you go back down, my mother's from, my mother's side is probably from some part of Africa that I did, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we have to continue to bridge that gap between the African and the Black African American community, because y'all are our only connection to our real roots. Like, but if Africans come here and continue to dissociate themselves, then how will we ever get back connected? You know, so it takes part on both sides.
It does. It always is. It's always a two-way street with these things. These things are never as simple as one would think or hope, you know. But I think now with the internet, now with visibility, now with social media, you know, we're spreading. Things are being spread so quickly.
We're connecting.
And also, exactly. And I love this. These kinds of discussions and dialogues, I think, are part of the journey, right? And getting to that state where we're treated fairly. We know our culture. We know, you know, the differences unite us. You know,
Shaka Zulu and MLK together.
All right. We're good. But no, Brii, this has been a wonderful, wonderful interview. So happy you were able to take some time to talk with us on The Gist on AfroVibes Radio. Just let us know, you know, tell us where people can find you on social media.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been so good, so informational. I feel like somebody gonna get something out of this. But yes, thank you for having me. My name is Brii Renee. I go by Brii Renee, straight from the A. You can follow me on social media at Brii's the Name, BRISTHENAME. Brii is the name, and that's with one I though. And stay tuned. Like she said, I have my book, Deactivated Fat Girl, that's out now. The link is in the bio. Also, my accessory line, Brii Joe. I have my own podcast that I do called The Appeal Unfiltered. You can check that out on my page. Everything about me is on my page. I'm an open book.
Yes.
Just follow me on
IG. Yes. Thank you so much. Brii, stick around. We're just going to close it. But this has been The Gist with Issa and Grace on AfroVibes Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in.